I'm Tony Dungy, and I'm sitting here with one of my heroes, Colonel Harry Stewart, and it is awesome. This is our first time meeting. Colonel Stewart is one of the famed Tuskegee Airmen, and my father was actually in the same regiment, Tuskegee Airmen. I didn't know much about it. I was very young. To hear this firsthand and get some stories about what these men did and how they did it is going to be phenomenal for me. So you're 17 years old, living in New York,
yes,
and you read this blurb, hey, here's
yes,
some African Americans, we're going to form a pursuit squadron, and we're going to serve the country.
I said, that's for me.
I mean, you probably hadn't done any flying at that point. You just kind of seen it on TV and the movies.
That's correct. Built model airplanes. This was a way that I could go ahead and plot my own destiny.
It's like I'm talking to my dad here.
I was called after I was turned 18 years old and sent down to Tuskegee, Alabama.
Can you remember your first mission?
Yes, oh yes, I remember that very well, and I remember it so well because I didn't know what was going on. I had no idea what was going on. It was just confusing to me. I could see these bombers that we were escorting. You had the fighter planes circling up above them, protecting them, and they're flying in a cross pattern like this, and it was a ballet in the air. You know, I say today, I'll never see something like that again. Wow. There was a metaphor in there somewhere. And, you know, that being with all of these pilots and crew members up there, all of them coalescing into one effort, one big effort. And we were going to Berlin all together.
Yes.
And we weren't going to Berlin as black men or white men or anything like that. We were going to Berlin for the country, for the nation, for our salvation.
I understand you flew 43 missions.
Yes, that's correct. Okay. And one was a specific encounter that we had over Wels Airdrome, Austria. And there were 7 of us that ran into a horde of Focke-Wulf fighters at the time. And we got in an awful skirmish, and 3 of our guys got shot down. One of them was not shot too badly as far as his plane was concerned, not too much damage, so he got back to friendly territory in Yugoslavia. Another one was killed outright in being shot down. And then another, Walter Manning, his plane was disabled and he had to bail out over Linz, Austria. The mob, or the county sheriff, or whatever they had there, they picked him up when he landed and they threw him in the jail they had there. 3 nights later, this happened on April 1st, 1945, a mob broke into the jail that Walter Manning was in. He was one of the pilots I was flying with. They dragged him out, beat him up pretty badly, and then he hung him from a lamppost. So somebody said, you know, war is hell, and it is hell. There's no question about it. It's a terrible thing and it's not only the soldiers that got killed, but I could see what happened to a lot of the civilians over there. It's just an awful thing.
I have to ask you, because as a child, I didn't grow up hearing about my dad's stories, so I wonder how it was with you coming back to the States, getting married and having children.
They didn't know much about it. I didn't talk too much about it.
Why were you guys like that? My dad was the same way. Why did you? This is something that we would all be proud of. I know your kids would be proud of it, but we didn't hear much about it from you guys.
I guess I'm a number of reasons maybe, and I guess I didn't believe they would fully understand what it was like. The emotion was so packed with the thing. It was such a dramatic time.
I do have this memory of my dad. You guys fight, you fight valiantly, you do your job, the war ends, and you come back to the States now. How are you viewed by the whole country?
It was the same old, same old. And we came back to the very same thing that we left. I went to 2 of the airlines and asked for a job with the airlines. I was denied not even seen, not even given an interview. I realized that bitterness and anger were not going to serve my interests. And so what I did is I did the best I could, and that was it. And
you sound so much like feel like I'm sitting here talking to my dad, because that's what he would always say. You couldn't get a job as a pilot. My nephew, my dad's grandson,
Yes.
is a pilot for Delta
Isn't that
Airlines
wonderful?
now,
Right.
because of what you
Okay.
guys have done.
All right.
And it's awesome.
And I'm really proud of these guys.
I'm proud to be sitting here with you, and I can't thank
Thank
you
you.
enough for
Thank
giving
you.
me this kind of just little look back